Premiership Rugby round 19. Some pretty good days out for the home teams. Across the board, all the home teams get the wins this week. I've seen about 2.5 of these games over the weekend. So, yeah, we'll go through these. I've seen all the highlights and gone through all the stats and whatnot. So, yeah, you guys can give me your thoughts. And, yeah, we'll see where things are standing. The first one was the Friday game. Quins up against Newcastle. This is the one I managed to see. The first half, kind of an interesting game where the Quins guys just seemed sharp and able to convert opportunities, like the try to Hugh Jones early on 5 minutes. Tommy Allen with the big line break just seemed, I mean, it's a quintessentially Quins try, wasn't it? And it was not just that one, like the Lewis Liner one on 32 minutes. That one out the right wing where Green just kind of drew in Mike Brown just enough that Liner had the gas on the outside. The young man beats the old fella. Yeah, Murley got a couple as well, so it was pretty good stuff for Quins to get 4 tries at home. Maybe they would have liked to win a little bit more against the Newcastle side that's been struggling. Newcastle did get the one through Marshall, but I think Newcastle will be a bit frustrated that they kind of resorted to taking a 3 kind of early when they had Quins under pressure. They couldn't crack them, and then there was a time later in the game where Quins had 2 guys in the bin simultaneously. One was Danny Kerr, and I forget who the other one was, but essentially it was 15 on 13. And do you think Newcastle could score? No, they couldn't. There's one point where they did the perfect thing, which some teams seem to muck up, which is when you've got 2-man numerical advantage, put the ball through the hands, each person draws 1. They're going to run out of defenders. They were doing that, but the last pass didn't stick, went into touch. It was pretty frustrating. I mean, the last try through Quins, through Murley on 68 to get the bonus point was a pretty nice one. You know, jumping up, looks like they're going to maul it, and then they just send him down the blindside wing and over. So yeah, pretty attractive stuff from Quins, you have to say. I mean, interestingly, Newcastle got more possession, more territory. Penalties conceded is even. I mean, Quins have to make a lot more tackles, 178 to 115, but yeah, just a little bit of clinical edge lacking with the Newcastle guys seemingly. It seems like, at least on paper and from what part of the game I've seen, they did look a little bit better than some of the games we have seen them play in recent times. So, I mean, Radwan, who can't get a game for England, I guess because he's an out-and-out winger and not like a utility. You know, Eddie does like his utilities. 110 run meters. I mean, if he can play fullback, let me know, but I've only seen him play wing. 110 run meters, 10 defenders beaten, 2 clean breaks is a huge shift. Doesn't get on the board, though. Danny Kerr, 2 try assists, 23 run meters, a clean break, and 3 defenders beaten. There you go. Quins sitting pretty well on the old log at the moment. They are away to Bristol next, and Newcastle will welcome Saracens, which will be a bit of a tough ask, but they need to get a win at some point, do the Falcons. The next one, Bath and Bristol, proper rivalry match. This one, and Bath managed to get it done. I only ended up seeing the highlights. I was kind of desperate to watch this one, but didn't end up finding time to watch it. I've seen the highlights, and what I didn't realise after seeing the result was how much of the game Bristol played with less than 15 guys on the paddock, which is unfortunate for the Bristol guys, because they started so well. They had a 21-0 lead. 21-0. 2 to Thacker, a couple of more tries, and then 1 to Nalango, one for the backs, 2 for the forwards, 1 for the backs. 21-0. But yeah, Bristol had a yellow card under pressure, and then Nalango got a red card for a high shot, which I think he knew as soon as he did it was probably not going to end well. So half the game, more than half the game for that red card period. 15 v 13. Bath do what teams should do, Newcastle. When you've got the man advantage, they go ahead and they score a try. Rocket Aguni gets 1. They end up getting a bunch. Joseph, Falatau, Falcon, Singer, and de Glanville. De Glanville maybe looked the most cutting of the Bath backs from what I've seen. But yeah, they end up getting a bunch of tries. Sheedy gets yellow carded for a deliberate knock on, so it's just not one of your days if you're a Bristol fan. They still got bloody close. I mean, Sheedy's penalty meant they went into the last few minutes ahead, but it's that de Glanville one at the death, like 84 minutes to steal it. It's a bit of a brutal finish, but a glorious finish if you're a Bath fan. at home. So yeah, pretty crazy stuff. So yeah, happy days. If you're a Bath fan, that's a couple of wins in a row. And Bristol's kind of inconsistencies continue, but this one is a bit of a different one just because you had to play so much of the game with the men down. But yeah, run meters 456 to 271. Kind of no surprise Bath get that. They have more possession, more territory. So yeah, like I said, Bath a couple of wins. Now they get to go on the bye, enjoy that winning feeling for an extra week, and Bristol are home to Quins. Next one, Gloucester and Northampton. Another game, another highlights package. I ended up watching kind of the last two. So yeah, 35-30. It's a bit of a comeback one again, where the home side was down. I mean, this one the lead changed seemingly quite a few times. Proctor, Dingwall and Collins go over for Northampton, but for Gloucester, Elrington, Seabrook seemed to be pretty good. Lewis Rees-Zammit showed some wheels, which is good for his Wales possibilities. He does not get selected at the moment. A penalty try, and Susino got one as well. I mean, that dummy from Seabrook, that one was very much a highlight-worthy one. It was a proper bit of skills. You love that kind of thing. And as I said, Lewis Rees-Zammit's gas. That's part of the reason you watch that guy, man. He's just out and out wheels, and it was good to see him because start of the Six Nations he looked maybe not 100% fit, but yeah, I think you'd be frustrated if you're a Northampton fan because it was like 20 points to 7, and the first try to Gloucester, Elrington's one, was a gift where Northampton just stuffed up their own line out. So yeah, Northampton, that's a pretty frustrating one. 27-14 they were up. The penalty try and the yellow card to Northampton didn't help because that Gloucester maul is a proper weapon. A couple of tries came through the maul. So yeah, bonus point win for Gloucester. Losing bonus point for Northampton if nothing else, but they are kind of on a bit of a bad run. Gloucester are away to Sale. Northampton are home to Wasps, who are also kind of on a bit of a bad run. So that one kind of could be interesting in those regards. Seabrook has a try assist, 40 run meters and 4 defenders beaten. Alex Mitchell has 133 run meters. Goodness gracious, what was he up to? Running the ball. 8 mauls from Gloucester, though, speaks volumes, and 14 penalties conceded to 7 with Northampton on the wrong side of that one. Pretty costly. The last one that I caught highlights of was London Irish and Worcester, and the main talking point about this one seems to be Big Duhan getting a red card for kind of a high fend. Wee bit of an elbow maybe in there. It's divided opinion, as a lot of cards tend to do. If you give the ref a decision to make these days, man, you're going to get that decision not the way you like it. In the Exeter game, there was a head contact tackle where, was it Giannis Kirsten went in for he was bent and it was a low tackle. And he still ended up getting him in the head, but they didn't end up carding him because it wasn't foul play, because he was doing what World Rugby is asking people to do. So I think if Duhan maybe fends him in the body and it goes up to his chest, it goes up to his head, then it's probably not going to be as harshly dealt with. But the fact that he seemed to just clock him straight in the face, it's just not a good look, eh? It's just the way it goes these days. I know people will say the game's gone soft, but yeah. That's just the way it's going to go. It's a weird one. I mean, you don't see it very often, but yeah, I don't think he had. They're just clumsy, eh? I know they always talk about he didn't have any intent, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But yeah, it was a bit of an awkward one for London Irish. Man, that Argentinian connection was doing pretty well. Creevy gets 2. He still loves the try. Burrows over from close range. Sinti gets 1. I thought he'd held up one of the tries. The first one, Hewitt, the fullback. I thought he'd held him up at the end of the first half, but they gave that try. Someone who watched the game will have to let me know what the deal was with that. It looked like Sinti had an arm under him, but anyway. So yeah, London Irish will certainly get some good value out of their Argentinians. Juan Martin Gonzalez got one in 38 minutes, and he's been, of Argentina's pretty poor 2021 year, he was one of the few bright spots. So I'm pleased to see him get a try in London Irish colours as well. Rona got one, Jackson got one, and White got one as well. So it was a bunch of tries for Northampton. 43-12 was a bit of a hiding in the end. Hewitt, the fullback for Worcester, got a couple. He did look pretty sharp from what we've seen. So, yeah, man. 14 v 15, it's going to be tough. And when London Irish, again, smart enough to just do the draw and pass, they're going to find space. Jackson's one was a bit of a lucky one, seemingly. But, yeah, that's a proper hiding, isn't it? Would the red card have made a difference? I don't think so, but you never know. London Irish are away to Leicester. They dominated their run meters, kind of, not surprisingly. 6 clean breaks to 2. 9 penalties conceded to Worcester's 19, so Worcester was not on the right side of the ref's whistle. Worcester are home to Exeter, which could be a bit of a hairy one. Just on form, but you never know. The Premiership's spat out some pretty good surprises this season. Saracens and Leicester first and second, I think it was. Was it going into the weekend, or was it third? Either way, 2 of the Titans going up against each other, and it seemed pretty windy. I did watch this one in full because it was such a big Titanic clash. I didn't know the result, which was pleasing. But yeah, Sarries get it done, 34 points to 27. It's a good win. It's got weird moments in it. I mean, Marco Vunipola goes off injured within like the first 2 minutes, which is obviously not a great way to start. I think they said he was captain for that one as well. And Leicester managed to convert through some pressure. They got Sneeman over the line before 10 minutes. So 7-0 lead to the away team. Sarries, when they had their period of pressure, interestingly, they didn't opt for 3. I thought they might, but no, they went for the ball, and Wollstonecraft ended up going over, so congratulations to him. He gets the first of 2 tries, so 7 points apiece. Leicester kick a penalty to go back in front, but then there's a weird moment where Lewington gets the second try of the game for Sarries, and Muri Valu kind of cleans him out after he's hit the dirt, when he's gone over to score the try. And World Rugby's trying to get rid of that kind of thing as well, where you just flop on the guy or charge into him when he's essentially on the ground just having scored a try. Like, if you're not going to get to him before he touches the ball down, then just kind of leave well enough alone. Well, Muri Valu doesn't, so he goes into him. So they score the try, game restarts with a penalty, and Muri Valu goes to the bin, and then Lazowski just kicks it from halfway. So it's a 10-pointer. It's a really, really bizarre one. Not something you see that often. I mean, Leicester did kick a 3 during the yellow card, so it was like 17-10. But then Leicester failed to take a restart. So yeah, it was a bit of a weird game. But I mean, Sarries at home in the wind, and the wind was pretty brutal. Seemed to make a big difference. There was a bit of handbags. Ella Davis got yellow carded for a kind of head-on-head clash with George Ford. It's not 2 of the biggest guys, but when they come in tackling too high and you go head-on-head, that's going to be a card. So there was the step for that one that was a mitigating factor for Davis. Otherwise, he probably would have seen red. But good win for Sarries, to be fair. They've been a bit inconsistent in recent times, but they'll certainly take heart from that one. Run meters 240 to 193. Leicester have more possession, more territory. Sarries have to make a lot more tackles, 149 to like 78. It's a big difference, but 93%, their tackling percentage for Sarries is massive. Penalties conceded 17-10, so Saracens on the wrong side of that one as well. Wollstonecraft, like I mentioned, 2 tries for him and 19 from 19 tackles. That's a Herculean effort. Matt Scott in the midfield, 57 run meters, 2 clean breaks, and 3 defenders beaten. Also not a bad shift, but still not quite enough. I forgot to mention Dolly and Chisholm got the other 2 tries for Leicester. So, yeah, entertaining game. 2 of the teams that people criticise a wee bit for being a bit boring, but I don't know. I found that one pretty entertaining. And then the last one, the Sunday game, I forgot to mention Bristol. Saracens are playing Newcastle away, and Leicester are home to London Irish. The last one, Exeter against Sale. Weird. I watched this one in full. Weird game of 2 halves. I mean, that first half performance from Exeter is about as dominant as you'll ever see. Saracens. Sale didn't really fire a shot in that first half. First try, and you think of Exeter, you think of forwards. It's all the backs. Beautiful, beautiful, well-worked try. Woodburn gets that one, 7-0. The next one's all the forwards. That's Vermeulen in his first game back for the Chiefs. 12-0. Sal get a yellow card for a deliberate knock-on. Vermeulen goes over for his next try. It's 19-0 after what? Just before half-time? And it's just been dominant. They've not had to do much in that second half. I mentioned it earlier, second half, a bit of sensible officiating where Kirsten gets a kind of a high tackle, but one where he's got that low technique, doesn't get punished, which was no cards. That was kind of pleasing to see. Because they're always telling guys, go lower, bend, into the tackles, don't go high. Well, when it finally happened and they still got a guy in the head, he didn't get punished, which was kind of pleasing to see. But Sale did manage to score 2 tries second half. Langdon and Ashman got the 2 tries. Who's that 17 for Exeter? He had a big line break as well, the big prop. Yeah, that was certainly a bit of fun. But I mean, O'Flaherty looked to have got a bonus point try, but there was a knock on in the air prior to that one. And then when they went back for like an accidental offside, no, it wasn't an accident, it was an offside penalty. Like it looked like Exeter had gone on the other end of the squad. They went back for an offside, and that's when Ashman got his try. So it was a bit of a 14-point swing, that one for the Sharks. So interesting decision for the Sale guys to use up all the time because they scored right at the death for the conversion to end the game. So they made sure they got a bonus point out of it instead of trying to attack to get the draw. But anyway, that was what it was. So yeah, like I said, just a bit of a game of 2 halves. All their points in the first half, all their points in the second half. Don't think Exeter will be too happy that they couldn't manage to get a 4th try out of that second half, but as I said, they were denied by the TMO. Run meters 422 to 404 is kind of even. Clean break 7 to 3 to Exeter. 68% possession for Sale in the second half. Just shows you kind of the way it's split. Woodburn on the right wing has 108 run meters, 2 clean breaks, and 10 defenders beaten. That's a massive shift for Exeter, man. Like, I know we always talk about their forwards, but their backs were electric at times in this one. Jean-Luc Dupree for Sale, 17 from 19 tackles. Not a bad shift. Exeter away to Worcester and Sale home to Gloucester. So there you go. Premiership results for round 19. We truck on with the Six Nations this week, so we'll see how that affects the results. But overall, pretty good week for the home teams. And seemingly some pretty entertaining games. You've still, if you're a Premiership fan, you've got to appreciate how many of these games finish with losing bonus points, right? I say it again, and not sarcastically. Maybe some people will mistake me on the internet. That's a healthy sign for the league, right? Sometimes you legit don't know who's going to beat somebody else. It's pleasing. Anyway, you guys have any thoughts? And I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.